Baby Beard Media. Shut up and take my podcast.
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 Shut up and take my podcast. Stereotypes.
The foreigner. My customs are different. Upwards inflections. Australian.
Your beer belly is so big, your door doesn't even close, and that doesn't even make sense.
The sentence ends well with, I got advice from Nixon.
We're a G-rated.
This is a problem. Are we? Futurama podcast.
Trademark. License. Copyright.
Don't say those words.
Shut up and take my podcast.
Aloha, everybody.
Hello.
What was that? Sorry. Hi, everyone, and welcome to...
Reading Josh's shirt, that's what it is.
Aloha. Just want to point out, for the last couple of hours he's been there, I did not realize that's what it said. So that is how the brain works. That is incredible.
It's also like you watching the episode and being like, hey, the sound's not working. Yeah, it's not.
Wait, who's this guy?
So, welcome everybody to Shut Up and Take My Podcast. My name is Sean, and I'm here with Phil.
Hi.
James.
Hello.
And Josh.
Hello there.
Not James as Josh, a different Josh. So
I am other Josh.
Other Josh.
Other
As
Josh.
is with my entire life, I am other Josh.
So we're here with other Josh from
Hi.
now on. No, we just decided to change it up. This little guy here has been wanting to...
I'm literally 3 foot tall, so tiny. I'm standing on the chair at the moment. It's really mean that you put the mic so goddamn high.
I'm sorry. This is other Josh, and I'm condescending Sean, apparently.
So Sean.
He's been asking to be on the Popplers episode for quite some time.
My God.
So this is the first time in a long time that we've had a weekend recording. I think we've always done... So it just worked out perfectly because you are lawyer by day, podcaster by night.
Yeah, well, podcast daytime. It's sort of all weekend is the evening, technically. You can start drinking at 9 and drink until 9.
I just didn't think it was as snappy to say lawyer by week,
Podcaster
by
weekend.
It's like mild-mannered reporter by today.
I'm
Excluding public holiday.
I'm bicycle repairman. That's a Monty Python reference that no one got.
Vigilante on public holidays.
Oh, I like that.
So,
Shovel
ladies and
Knight.
gentlemen, if you haven't figured out by now, we are a Futurama podcast. And so currently, we are up to Season 2, Episode 15, The Problem with Popplers.
Literally
That is not the title of the episode.
But it is
by the way.
literally the best episode ever. So
And
I'm
what
just
is
going on
it
record
in
there.
reference to?
The problem with somethings.
Oh, wait. Oh, do you not? Oh.
Tribbles?
Yeah.
Yes.
Troubles with Tribbles.
Troubles with
Tribbles.
Oh,
That's it.
Trouble with Tribbles.
I learned
Troubles
something
with
new.
Tribbles.
Yeah. Because the writer for the episode, David, what's his name? David,
a great
Gerald.
name.
Again,
He's
not,
a fan
not
of,
his name.
David.
He's a fan. So the writer for Tribbles is a fan of Futurama.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They're small. There's tons of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to eat a tribble.
Can we
but-
call him David Wilhelm Scream now as well, just because of the David?
Who's got the best Wilhelm?
Is that the impersonation of it?
Oh, wait. What is the Wilhelm scream? I can't...
And then there's
That's
the other
just a
one.
scream.
Then there's the other one. What's it? The other one, it's like...
Yeah.
It sounds like a TIE fighter. It's great.
I heard it on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen the other night, so I was like, it's in everything. It's just in absolutely everything. I want to know who owns the rights. Is it just Wilhelm?
The estate of Wilhelm.
The estate? So,
It
is
was
Wilhelm
like,
dead?
it was because that was the name of a soldier that died in a movie. Like he was called Sergeant Wilhelm.
Yeah.
And that's where the name came from.
okay.
But
And
yes,
then editors started slipping it in.
It's like everybody knows about it now, so it's not really sly that they
No,
put it in. You're like,
no.
oh, there it is.
Although
There's
it's
the
You're
Wilhelm.
basically, so a director for this episode, well, 2 directors, Chris Sauvé and Greg Vanzo. This is Greg Vanzo's final episode, so he's done 2 episodes before this. This is the final time he ever directs an episode, and he's only ever co-directed with a different director each time.
And what an episode
He
to go
keeps
out on.
trying to collaborate with someone and it never works and he just leaves.
Well, considering the first one he did was Fear of a Bot Planet.
Oh, yeah.
He went from like to like at the end.
And the writer, so we got the story by Darren Henry, who is a writer for Seinfeld. So he did episodes like the Van Buren Boys.
I can see that.
And then it was writer Patrick M. Verone. He's done so many episodes now, I can give you one extra little fact about him. He did Futurama comics. One of them he did was called 6 Characters in Search of a Story, which is a comic that you can read 7 different ways.
Okay.
You can
Brilliant.
read
That's
it
pretty
through different characters' eyes. I
Brilliant.
can't figure out how.
How does it work? Yeah,
I couldn't.
physically, how
I
does
tried,
that work?
I
Yeah.
tried so many times to get an image of the inside of it, but apparently you can either read it in its entirety or through the eyes of different characters.
Fantastic. Is it
I
like
guess you maybe you just read it cover to cover, or if you have a particular
person, you just
I don't know if
you
it's
skip,
choose your own
you
adventure
skip pages
or if
maybe,
it's-
so you only get.
I'm just
what they
imagining like a
experience.
book shaped like the fourth dimension in Interstellar, and you sort of float through it, and you're like, oh, okay, this bookcase I'll look through.
That is not a comic book I've seen, but yeah, I would buy that.
I'll exist in the fourth dimension. Fuck it.
in VR book reading.
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
Air date May 7th, 2000. Introducing two people. One is Fishy Joseph Gilman.
That's his actual name.
Hey, I don't care.
Fishy Joseph Gilman. He'll pop up again making the bean pizza for Leela
Yes.
when Leela becomes a Bloonsball star.
Yes, you are right.
And then we got the first of the Waterfall family.
Yeah.
So this guy's Free Waterfall Jr., the hippie.
yeah.
Okay.
So this is the first in a long line of family members who will show up and die.
They really don't like hippies.
No,
No,
really
like
don't.
they're all
don't.
kind of political stereotypes.
Yeah.
So this guy's a hippie. We get Free Waterfall Senior, who will be that protects the penguins.
Yes, I was going to say I could swear that was his senior.
Old man, Waterfall, and then there's the niece. Yeah, they're all over the place. They're just characters that I think there's like 4 generations of them that crop up in the first 4 seasons, and they all die in the first episode that they become the focus of.
That's so good.
Right.
It's like I love those hippies as well because my favorite sign is still on there that I've ever seen like a protest ever, which is eating is murder.
Yeah, it's like murder, yeah.
so who wants to run down the plot?
Ooh, me.
Go for it.
Okay, cool. So after visiting the planet of the Moochers and having everything stolen on the way back.
The following
they
plot
are
synopsis
starving,
by
begging
Other
for
Josh
people
is a scene-by-scene
and,
breakdown for the next 90 seconds. We will now skip to the end of that time.
So as a result, she starts to try and protest against it.
Does he know what a plot summary is?
Sorry.
You're like doing scene by scene.
I know it so well. Basic. Okay.
Omicronians show up.
Oh, okay. I'll do
Feels
this.
like it's like doing the wrap it up.
I was saying, you'd be like, oh shit. I'm like, oh no, I'm doing it wrong. Do more. Okay, more detail. Quickly. Summing up, breaking it down. They find a bunch of edible little chicken nugget looking things on a planet. Turns out that they're young Omicronians. Omicronians show up pissed off that billions of their children have been eaten. And then as a result, try to sacrifice Leela to appease them. And at the end, everyone has a happy ending.
Boom.
That is a plot summary.
That is-
Boom. That is a plot summary.
I know this episode so well that literally you're like, tell me the episode. I'm like, well, let me tell you it's scene by scene.
I'll just hope
we do
say,
end up going through everything
Yeah.
anyway.
It's like we say,
Dull.
do a plot summary. He brings up the Wikipedia plot article, scene by scene.
I mean,
Futurama is.
Here are my diagrams.
here is the wonderful show Futurama.
Siri calls it Futurama.
Futurama,
Futurama.
by Matt Grimmening.
Ooh, I like that. Futurama.
So, what do we think, guys?
It's a fun episode, isn't it? It's got lots of funny moments.
I mean, I'm
Had
going to
me
say it's
laughing.
okay, but on the inside, I'm like, oh my god, it's like the best thing ever.
So, is this your favorite
Yes.
Futurama episode?
Absolutely.
Okay, this would be interesting.
You don't like it?
No, I do. I do like it. I'm just going to be.
Why is it your favorite?
So for some reason, like the first time I watched it, it's kind of like a weird comparison, but Die Hard is the same thing that I would compare this to because in Die Hard,
I cannot wait for this comparison.
in every single scene of Die Hard, something is happening. Like, there's never a moment where it's like this scene could be cut. There's always something. There's always a character. And in this episode, there is literally something happening at every moment. You get all these great characters show up. Like, Lur is one of my favorite characters in Futurama. Same with Zap Brannigan. And they're both in this episode. It's like, okay, absolutely.
There's a lot of secondary characters that kind of make their way into the episode, and it just fits.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird.
I mean, they squeeze in like a Zoidberg's paw gag.
Yeah.
Twice. We
Twice
got
even.
Dupe back as well.
Yeah.
Dupe headquarters. The new Dupe headquarters, I'm assuming.
Yeah, like the sign is like united against the Omicronian menace, and then it's like crossed out and it says, like,
Welcomes.
welcomes the Omicronian menace.
I do love that they're just never learning. And why is Zap the best
chief
negotiator
negotiator.
for the entire planet?
I was kind of curious as to where Morbo was on the news. Like,
Yeah.
where
Well,
is
this is
Morbo?
the thing. This is something that cropped up in When Aliens Attack. Is that what they've done? Is whenever the episode is very alien centered, and they also need the news, they'll take away Morbo because we've already got the Omicronians, so we don't need a
right.
big, loud alien.
Yeah,
so
the
we just
voices
make it
are
quieter.
similar.
Absolutely,
So it's very similar. So they'll take Morbo away, and when you
Okay,
see it's
sure.
just about the Planet Express crew and Express crew, then Morbo comes back.
Yeah.
Morbo already has his Vermin of the Week segment that he gets to do, so he's doing all right.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting you say like that's what you find really strong about the episode. The one that aired last week for us was the Deep South, and the thing that pissed us off about that episode was that it has a lot of scenes which don't really do anything.
No.
You don't
A
go
lot of the
anywhere. It has
jokes that don't fit with the
montages,
characters, and-
It has loads of cool gags, but it's really unsatisfying because nothing's really happening.
yeah.
Whereas when the plot kicks along, Futurama just like really shines.
in like the first few seconds, even if you've never seen an episode of Futurama, you could watch this one and you kind of get immediately Bender doesn't get humans, Fry is an idiot, and Leela is the adventurous one. Like, even like in the first few seconds of that episode.
They're very strong archetypal characters that are subverting the sci-fi genre anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's something that Chris pointed out in the first couple of episodes that we did is that Leela is meant to be just the sexy arm candy for the sci-fi, but no, she's kind of independent.
They're really
and-
bagging on this episode for being kind of gross. Like, they compare it to orangutan. Everyone can't tell the difference between her and orangutan. They say she's got hairy knuckles.
A slightly moderate ape. It's like you
moderately
attractive ape.
It's moderately attractive, but it's like at the same time, it's like, does Zap find this ape attractive?
Yeah, it's weird.
Because he must.
He must do.
Because he finds like Leela to be incredibly attractive.
Even when he thinks she's a man and doesn't realize she's
So,
a
like,
man. It's just Leela.
Did he hit on this ape? I'm gonna
Oh,
say
I
yes,
bet he did.
Yeah. Well, is the ape his?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Also, I don't want to get like factual, but orangutans.
Oh yeah, no, that was saying that everyone was like, you're meant to be like an advocate for animals and you said the name wrong.
I love that Waterfall Jr. calls it an orangutan as well, and it's like, that's not what it's called.
No.
That's not what it's called. You are not a good hippie.
One of my favorite jokes, Lur calling Brannigan out on how to say something. It's pronounced guacamole.
And just keeps eating the young in front of him.
Stop eating our young.
There is a weird like pacing in that episode because it's just you don't get a moment to stop. Here's the thing. Now here's another thing. Here's another thing. But all of them are really good things. Like if one of those things fell apart, I feel like the entire episode would be awful.
I mean, it's an awesome plot. This is a episode that ranks number 14 on IGN's top 25
Really?
of all time, and TV.com has it as number 10. But that's on the original run, so it's on a lot of lists of top. And it's mainly the premise. People saying this is a really cool idea.
Yeah.
The plot by itself holds up, and then you've just got jokes that are actually funny.
Yeah, they use it to do a bit of like, you know, not commentary, but like have a poke at the idea of animal ethics and kind of like how contradictory our attitudes are towards eating animals.
eat nothing but tofu.
It's an award-winning episode.
Yeah.
So it won the Environmental Media Award.
Really?
Right, okay, yeah.
And it was nominated for the Genesis Award by the Humane Society
there you
of
go.
North America. So
I was really hoping you say Peter Gabriel.
No,
I think it must be for that last scene that
Yeah.
they were nominated it for, yeah.
Well,
Hand
it's-
me the speech center of the brain.
I mean, it's basically them going, isn't it kind of stupid that we decide what animals we eat based on intelligence?
Yeah.
Like Fry.
Like fry. Oh, and they do eat parrots, by the way.
Yeah.
Xmas story.
Yeah,
The,
they
blo-
do.
the
Yeah.
missile
Yeah.
blows up the parrot.
It's so good.
You get to have the toenail.
This was the dolphin as well. It's like, we can't eat them, they're intelligent. It's like, no, this one, it's
It
blew
blew
all
its
its money on
lottery
lottery
tickets.
tickets. That's okay, that's fine.
So what do you think, James?
Yeah, it's a really enjoyable episode. Lots of fun stuff. Lots of little, like, great little comedy moments where it's like, oh, you guys eat rocks?
Not even sauteed in a little
Yeah, he
mud.
keeps trying to sell those rocks.
At the moment,
These would go great with a side of rocks.
Bender's kind of towing that line between being a fucking horrible chef and being a great chef. It's like for robots, he's great because he's clearly works for the robot
He knows
mafia.
what robots want, though. He doesn't understand the human, like, taste.
Yeah. He also steps on poplars. Although, like, there's one scene where he's, like, eating them, like, right at the... Because he's got, like, a container of them as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he's got the booze, and they get both knocked out of his hands.
My booze.
Yeah, all he cares about the booze.
So someone worked out how much, and I verified, worked out how much money the Planet Express crew made from poplars because 198 billion poplars were eaten. Now remember, they get $1 for every dozen.
Yep.
That's $16.5 billion that the Planet Express crew made. Where did that money go?
It's probably nothing in the year 3000.
Yeah.
Well, no, because remember, Fry had $4 billion, and that went a long way.
All right, yeah, okay.
I don't think they accounted for, like,
Inflation,
inflation.
yeah.
Because a year 2000 audience wouldn't get inflation at that point. They'd be like,
Well, you know, the Earth has been destroyed like 3 times in that 1,000 years, so maybe that just resets the economy.
Well, I think Bender embezzled it all because, like, he even says it to Fishy Joe. It's like, whoa, we're gonna be rich. So are you, but that's nothing to get excited about. So Bender's got it all. I think he's actually got all the money.
Bender probably lost it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gambled it.
I never, like, because I was watching it and I'm like, okay, wait, so they set up a deal with Fishy Joe, like, basically to deliver, and I guess they own the rights to the populace.
Yeah, so they own the rights, they give everything, and basically they market it and sell it.
Why'd they have to protest? Couldn't they just not deliver anymore?
I mean, contract law.
Someone else would go and fetch them, I guess. But they have the secret to where they come
Yeah,
from.
I guess
Also-
they just wouldn't say where they come from.
exactly.
Also,
Like,
contract.
Where they
contract
come
law.
from, no one knows. That's part of the song.
yeah.
Pop a poplar in your mouth when you come to Fishy Joe's. What they're made of is a mystery. Where they come from, no one knows. You can pick them, you can stick them, you can chew them, you can flick them. If you promise not to sue us, you can shove one up your nose.
Nice.
Our housemate Angus knew that as well.
Nicely done.
Everybody knows that song.
I was walking down the stairs and I mentioned, we're doing the Poppers episode today. And as he's walking ahead of me, he does that entire song. How?
It's catchy.
so
it
good.
It's
very catchy.
In terms of advertisement, it is so clever. And
I assume it's a
catchy.
Ken Keeler song as well because he always writes the songs.
Would not surprise me. There was one point I was going to make there about that. The basics of contract law is that if they actually signed with Fishy Joe, there would probably be a clause in there that if it's broken, they would have to pay out a significant amount of money.
That's where they lost their money.
That probably would be, yeah.
So Fishy Joe's made the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Which is why he's still in business and also has a pizza restaurant, I guess.
Yeah.
He has
he does.
everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Goddamn Fishy Joe's.
Joseph Fishy Joe Gilman.
If I can be, while we're on to the fast food chain thing, that's something I can be a little bit critical about, and it's something I was critical about in the Deep South episode as well, is that run of jokes about which fast food restaurants they can find.
Howard
Goes
Johnson?
straight-
Yeah, what
it
is
just
that?
goes
How's the
straight
Howard
over-
Johnsons?
Goes over my head.
Yeah.
Like, I
I
know
forgot to
that
look
they're
it
all
up.
fast food
Yeah.
chains.
There's a-
what they mean culturally to
Yeah.
America just does not resonate.
Well, there's
at
also
all.
a Pillsbury Doughboy joke in that episode, which anyone in Australia wouldn't get.
when he she pokes him in the belly.
Yeah, and he's
that's
like-
the
he's like,
Ghostbuster Doughboy, isn't it?
Yeah, Pillsbury
Yeah.
Doughboy. So his
You mean that's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
That's what I'm thinking
Yeah,
of. That's
yeah,
wrong.
that's right. That's
no,
right.
that's
You're
right.
wrong.
Or is that
No,
wrong?
that's a different.
That's a different
gelatinous
big
creature.
fat
Yeah.
white thing.
The Pillsbury Doughboy is like the little white cookie one with like the chef's hat.
and a little
yeah,
and a
yeah,
neckerchief.
yeah,
A
yeah.
neckerchief.
Yes.
Don't forget his cute neckerchief.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think he's on the UK TV as well in adverts.
Yes.
Yeah, and they poke him in the stomach
And he's like-
and he
he's
goes, and then they bake him and eat him.
Yeah, that was a robot chicken joke. Like they actually
do
poke
that.
him and then grabs him and puts him in the oven and he's screaming.
So yeah, I'm a little bit like, I guess they're writing for an American audience, but maybe they didn't expect the show to be so popular internationally.
I don't think any American
show.
show ever expects it to go anywhere apart from America because that's all
I
they
guess
care
the
about.
main thing is they don't care.
Yeah.
Because it really only matters in once you get to syndication
Yeah.
about international audiences.
Yeah.
Whereas as far as the original run, the only numbers that matter is the Nielsen ratings they're getting in America. So as long as they cater to them, I guess they're just like,
It's only one or two jokes. as well.
Yeah.
They could have easily you didn't see Leela's when she says Howard Johnson. She doesn't. We don't see her talk, right? Because it's it's looking at the planet. They could have easily just taken that line out, put something in.
Hungry Jacks.
Hungry Jacks. Different countries replace the product placement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have done that, but they do show her face in that bit because it cuts
Okay.
back.
And you get the joke. You understand, it's a fast food restaurant. It's like if we were to go also Red Roosters.
yeah, absolutely.
No, I've never seen a person inside a Red Roosters. And yet there's still a couple of stores in Adelaide.
Yeah.
How are they making money?
I've gone past a whole bunch of abandoned Red Roosters.
No, there's tons of abandoned ones.
Spooky Red Roosters.
Yeah. Yep, they're haunted.
What's up, buddy?
The Kit Kat is sliding ever downwards.
Long live the king.
Ow! Oh, good God, Kitty.
One of the last ones we reviewed. It's not technically out of this moment.
Well,
it will be. It will
we're
be.
the newest
It will
episode,
be.
so
it will be
whatever.
by the time this one will
Yeah,
be out.
that's
But it's
how
in
time
Mother's
works.
Day how there's that talking gift card.
Yes.
That voice, because you mentioned that actor never did anything else.
Yes.
Her voice is so similar to Jer.
Yes.
The baby.
Yeah.
It's so similar. I'm like, it's not the same because Sean was saying that she didn't
do
return to
anything
the
else, never credited
The
again,
greeting
yeah.
card voice just did that job, and that was it.
And that's her only credit on IMDb
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic role to do, though. It's got one of the best anti-bourgeoisie lines I've ever heard ever.
So we reckoned because of the little tribute they sort of have to her at the end, where she just does her,
Reads the entire card,
reads her card out, like
Must be a friend of the
must be a friend, and
creators,
it's just like a
or-
little tribute
Yeah.
to her.
I
saying
mean, if that
thanks
is, she did a
for doing
fantastic
it.
job.
It's
of
great.
It. Yeah.
I mean, the ending of that made it seem like she'd passed away.
Yeah, it was
And
really
then I checked,
strange.
no, she's alive.
Just not
Dead
working.
to them.
Maybe they had to fill up time.
But we
and
did
they just
cover
had no
this.
more plot.
We did cover this last episode.
Well, I'm getting a sneak peek.
about
then.
this episode.
Also, just as a funny thing, so we get to a point where they're deciding to, so they're not going to eat because they get to a point where they say, okay, you killed all our children, so we're going to eat all of you. Somehow Brannigan brokers a deal.
Yeah.
No, just eat.
with the twin fires of guns of peace. I
Grace.
blast. It's like
Grace and tact.
Grace and
Twin
tact.
guns of Grace and tact.
So they only have to eat one person, which is going to be Leela. And so they decided to televise it.
Yeah.
And then I love that
Which they would. They
Yeah.
would. That was so astute. I was like, of course.
My favorite thing is you cut to the outside of Madison Cube Garden and you see it says, Slurm presents the fight of a lifetime or whatever.
It's, and where is it? I think I wrote that down. It's like an evening with hungry angry monster.
Clearly, Leela has posed for this fight.
Yeah,
Like, she's on a boat. It's like, oh, like.
I know, because it's animation, we can't tell. Is it a photo or is it just like an artist rendering? Like,
Yeah.
No,
I mean, it's cartoons, so probably.
yeah.
I think she posed for the publicity.
Yeah, that strikes me as something. Like, that would be like a great...
Bender convinced her it was a good
Someone's
idea.
like, more fear, yes.
I do really like the one of the sponsors for the event as well. Which
Yeah.
is the
Brought to you by Fishy Joe's.
freshly squeezed walrus.
Walrus juice.
Walrus juice.
Ride the
Ride the
walrus.
walrus.
Ride the walrus.
Even when
I
it's
remember Ride the Walrus.
And when it hard cuts back, it's like, if this ploy works, humanity will be safe. Brought to you by Fishy Joe's. Ride the walrus.
It's just one of those lovely absurdist commercials that's peppered all the way through Futurama. The episode begins with like a plug for molten boron. Nobody
boron.
doesn't like molten boron. It's like, and arachnospores in another episode.
Yeah.
They just love their really crazy adverts.
I think, is this also the first time they actually address them flying through the screen?
Yeah, because they do it again. Yeah.
This is the second time you've done this week.
week.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that's a brilliant joke. I was like, okay, I
Just
guess...
break the fourth wall. We get their first names for the first time ever, which is my favorite joke of that
Turanga
episode.
Leela.
And now Turanga Leela. Turanga, that's her name, Philip.
There was a moment in I loved as well. It's when Leela was about to get eaten and she's in like the circus cage. And I look at you and you're like, the circus cage? Yeah, it's a carny cage. I'm like, brilliant.
Also, Brannigan has two.
Yeah.
Because
One
the,
is red
the
and one
monkey
is
gets
blue.
wheeled out in a different colour.
Different
So he
colour.
just has several.
And also we find out that Kif is an excellent stylist.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I'm creative.
Yes. I can tell by her bad posture and hairy knuckles.
Is there anything about this episode that you don't like, that you think didn't work?
In saying that everything's happening, I would love if there was a couple of scenes that were a little bit like slowed down, just a slight bit. Like, because we go straight from being like, we find them, it's great, we're successful, aliens, we're eating Leela, end. And it's like,
something about the creation of the marketing, or
yeah, like even more protesting stuff, like
Sure.
different stuff. Because I've seen the deleted scenes for the episode, and there's quite a few scenes in that which just sort of like give each little scene a little bit more time. And I'm like, okay, but this would make it like 45 minutes instead of the run time that it is.
I feel like I would have liked another scene with Jer.
Yes,
Just because we
Yeah.
get Jer saying, "Hey, I'm here,"
And it's on the news.
and then on the news, and then doesn't show up for the next 10 minutes, and then pops into Leela's mouth near the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I just
Because
felt-
we're friends, you know.
Yeah.
And their friendship would have been quite fun.
yeah,
It
a
was
little
like-
Jer friendship. I
Just
think
have
could have
Jer,
been
like on her shoulder the whole time.
just having a little quip here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she gets really attached to him, and then
Yeah.
makes that joke better at the end, when saying, "Oh, it's like I'm your mum or whatever. When my species grows up, we eat our mothers."
Yeah.
It's also got a great joke in there as well with, she's my friend. Leela's garbled words have made me. I was like,
Opened my eyes.
yeah, it's like, oh, so good.
I'm kind of surprised when you said that this episode was like commended by animal rights groups and conservation groups, because they're pretty harsh on vegetarians.
They're harsh on
Yeah.
vegetarians, but I think it's that then they kind of satirize that thought process in the end, because saying, "Oh, we can
Eat
say to
this
vegans,
with this."
oh, you guys are stupid," but then on with
Let's
our
eat
other
some
hand,
veal.
we're going to say,
Yeah.
"Let's eat some veal." Oh, dolphins though, oh, it's like a lot of double standards.
Yeah.
Which, like, I think as an overarching episode, it's kind of very intelligent in that way.
Sure. I just think, it's a little unnuanced the way
Yeah.
it portrays hippies and vegetarians.
I mean, you know,
although
lion,
that does...
lion tofu joke is
It's really good.
such
And
a good
also, when he eats the hippie and gets baked, I love that. It's
Yeah.
such a
the
good
hippie's
joke.
really kicking in. It feels more like a South Park episode in how it's like satirizing it. Like
Yeah.
it feels like the crew is Cartman in this. Like they go from
They're
being
not
like,
that bad.
a nicer Cartman, but like even like to the same degree that everyone in that episode is made fun of, like the meat eaters and the vegetarians alike.
Sure,
so it's kind of
sure,
like
sure,
an
sure.
equal playing ground. It's like, yeah, we all suck.
Yeah.
We are
And
all
they-
equally as bad as one another.
They're not taking like an ideological position
Yeah.
on stuff.
As a note, in the original script, Fry was meant to be eaten, not Leela.
Really?
So David Cohen changed his mind when he was on a flight, apparently. So, it'd be better if Leela was the one that was chosen to be eaten. So,
Yeah. It's really poetic justice, because she's the first. She's like, I'm fighting for them, and then it's like, oh wait, I'm getting eaten. Nope, changed my mind. Boo! I don't like this deal anymore.
and it's kind of great. Like, it works a lot better and fits Leela's character more, I think, than it would, because she gets to take that stance against, like, oh, this is absolute bullshit. You guys should be dead, not me.
And
this sucks.
There's a great scene in that, a 3-second close up on Bender
Oh,
not
Bender!
saying or doing anything.
So
It's like,
good.
Usually it would be an expression, but Bender can't give expressions, so it's just so
we
comical.
also found out that
And you were stepping on them for fun.
So I got nothing.
Yeah, you got me.
Bender's highest form of compliment is comparing someone to titanium, and his worst insult is comparing them to aluminum.
Aluminium. Thank you very much.
I'm quoting him directly.
Aluminum tubes.
Someone's being very aluminum.
What's it? It's like, you're smart and sexy and brave, just like titanium.
I like the attitude of the professor when they discover that they're intelligent. The only way to determine whether something's truly intelligent is to dissect its brain.
Also, why does he have a straight razor? Like all the fancy tech, and he's just like, because
he likes getting his
by
hands
the
dirty.
table, by like where everyone sits and hangs out.
I think he's just ready to do a dissection whenever.
Which means that is always underneath the table.
Yeah.
Like he just goes, oh, I always need this.
Cartoon continuity. It's like, doesn't matter. Speaking of, there's a picture on the board at the back of Fry and Nibbler. Is that
I
in
was
more
looking at
episodes, or
that.
is that in just that episode?
And also, it's the only photo on that board.
yeah. I was like, because I noticed that, and I was like, I don't remember seeing that ever.
Important page, important flyer.
I think there's just more foreshadowing.
Yeah,
for later on.
Yeah.
I love that foreshadowing for Nibbler, but that's another story for another time.
Where was Nibbler?
Well, I was
He
going to say, was
love a
Nibbler
popular.
there?
Yeah.
Didn't see him.
Yeah, he would have eaten.
We already
Joe
have a
so
small,
quick.
adorable
Yeah.
creature. We can't
Yeah.
have Nibbler. Sorry.
But Nibbler is an eating-themed thing, and it's an eating-themed episode. It would have been
How
pretty
quickly
good.
would have that episode been over?
He ate all
Joe
of
becomes
them.
alive and Nibbler just...
I would love, like, if it was an after credit sequence showing that Nibbler was trying to, like, secretly wipe out the Omicronians. So, like, he was, like, orchestrated the entire thing.
Well, he was responsible for like 3/4 of the 198 billion that were in. Bender, new function for Bender. Not his door this time, but his head is a bell. Hear me.
Oh,
He can use his head as a bell.
Also, like, the best way in that episode as well is, like, he's like, yeah, I'm technically going against, like, I'm protesting with you guys while saying all the amazing deals to get them in there.
That's one of the best uses of Bender ever. Like,
Absolutely.
don't try poplars with this
honey mustard sauce.
Honey mustard sauce.
Don't try the poplar salad. Don't
Wherever
take
good
advantage of
times
the.
are.
Don't take advantage of the 12-pack.
Yeah, great deals.
And that sequence also has like when Leela is protesting, it has some really nice fun wordplay with what she says. Stop eating poplars. And
Don't stop, eat a poplar.
Yeah.
Cut it out. Yeah, take a coupon, cut it out. And also Fry, like, handcuffing himself to a
revolving door.
is brilliant. I was just like, it's like a 2-second gag. And I'm like,
know
cool.
what?
they're as intelligent as you and me.
Yeah.
You maybe. Yeah.
Every character just has at least one line. Like Zoidberg's line about they're as tasty as a bunch of
Unguarded penguin nests. Also, just I can't pay.
Also, congratulations. I assume Amy is the father. Please listen to the father.
Because Amy doesn't really get a good line, but she's part of a good joke.
She's there.
Hermie just says, I'm inhaling them.
And the Planet Express ship, you're clear to launch.
Oh, when was that one of Hermie's jobs? They've never needed Hermes to clear them for landing.
I think just
before.
they needed someone to say it, and they were like, we want to show that Leela is literally eating while flying.
Yeah.
Roger. And there's what was the other one? They're like sex, except I'm having them.
yes. And they try to call them testicles.
Yeah.
Tasticles.
Tasticles.
And testicles.
Testicles.
The Rocky Mountain oyster popsicles. Testicles.
Also, I want to see if after that episode, Poplar was trademarked by Fox. And the other one?
I was
And
watching
Zitzels.
Zitzels.
No one wants to pop a zitzel, so
It's like whenever these TV shows, like I know Conan does it a lot, whenever they make up fake websites, they then immediately use that website to safeguard against anyone
It's a
using
good
it.
marketing system. It's a line in there which I love, and I think it's so underappreciated, but it's just kind of said matter-of-factly. It's like the only two things that aren't trademarked.
Poplars and
And I'm like, wait, we're just going to brush over the fact that everything else is trademarked?
And the answer? Yes.
And it's like
3000,
it's
of course.
kind of not necessarily linked, but there's a show called Happy Endings where there's a line which is like one of the best lines I've ever heard delivered, where it's like, you know that alleyway that I go down to get my teeth whitened? Well, look what I found, a wicker bassinet. And it's like, wait, back up. Like, there is so much in that line, and you just like brushed past all of it.
That'd be great as an animator to sit there and go, let's just write this and let's just get it to be done straight face. Cool. Maybe we'll come back to it in 4 seasons' time.
Oh, that is Hermes' other line. The only two things that aren't trademarked.
That's right. That's his line. Yeah.
The people of Earth. It's really good on a microphone on stage in front of the aliens.
Also, right in front of the aliens, Brannigan says, "I've blasted our worthless enemies with a fair compromise." They're right there.
Yeah, they don't give a shit either.
Well, they think he's an idiot.
Yeah,
so it doesn't really matter.
they thought that Kif was the diplomat and I was a jabbering idiot.
A jabbering mental patient.
Isn't that right, Kif? Please, I'm creating.
I love that Brannigan, like, he says he has tact. He has no tact. He never has tact.
A gun of tact, which is pretty great.
Where is the human female? I'll never tell you. Where is the human female? I'll go get her for you.
Clear my schedule. Kif, clear my schedule. It's on an Etch-a-Sketch. Yeah, great.
Do they make
I love they have
Etch-a-Sketches?
Etch-a-Sketches.
Do
they still make them?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
They're still making them 1,000 years from now.
Do we still use them?
Also, they're using the mics. They're using like the old like boxing
Condenser
mics.
mics. Yeah.
In the year 3000, I was like, brilliant.
They're wireless.
Yeah. Except that one was plugged up.
Oh, that one was plugged up.
That one was clearly plugged up. It's like, wow, we're so backwards in the future. I love it.
When everyone's saying that we're doomed, and we get to hear Bender inhale before for no reason. Bender doesn't breathe. He doesn't breathe. He inhales before letting out the longest doomed possible.
And then cut away before we even get to the end.
Yeah.
We get
Which means that-
and then cut.
Which means that Bender just did that breath for aesthetic purposes.
Yeah.
Is that the midpoint of the episode? I feel like that's the break. Maybe?
Roughly, yeah. Well, that's probably, the...
You can tell where there's the break in the episode, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like there was a line in there which, if the episode was crap, it would have been against the episode with Fry. It's like, I just wish they'd annihilate the human race already. It's the waiting that's the hard part.
Because that's stupid.
Yeah, it's just like Fry's like, oh come on, just end it already.
I think they're just pointing out that phenomenon of people going, waiting for a bad thing is worse than a bad thing. Like, that's dumb. Yeah. This is the writers going, when people say that, it's stupid. Don't say that.
We get the Omicronians' perspective on humanity as well, because it's first we will eat the firemen, then the math teachers, and so on until everyone is eaten.
I just want to know what comes after that.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a line that you go,
Lawyers?
yeah, no, they taste terrible.
Oh, okay.
They love their single female lawyers.
Yes.
That's how they were
Very true.
introduced.
Female lawyer.
Having lots of sex. You know what? This is going to be interesting because for voting, there's 4 of us.
Oh, we could have a deadlock.
Which would mean that it would just revert back to Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Also, you have to go and watch Mother's Day so you can compare it.
Oh, I love that episode so much as well. That's actually one of my favorite episodes as well. So,
Okay.
I'm not biased in the sense. Season 2, the entire thing, there is one episode in season 2 I don't rate. Everything else I'm like,
Is it the Deep South?
No, it's the
episode
Zoidberg episode where he mates.
Oh, we love that episode.
I don't know what it is about that episode. I just find it's so bright, it's disgusting to me.
Are you just...
We were loving that one. That was winning. For
Are you
I think
racist
some
against
of the time.
Decapodians?
Yes.
I think must be. I think some of the cliches in that episode go a bit far in terms of mating, but one of our listeners actually pointed out that is a joke in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Cyrano whispering the things to say to the lady in your ear, like it's
That
a
was
trope.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Name checking Elizabeth, our number one Twitter fan.
It's
Our only Twitter fan.
Shut up!
It's the colors in that episode. It's like something about.
It's literally a visual thing. I thought you were saying it's too bright,
I was
emotionally.
oh, this is making me feel ill.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know what it is.
I'm sorry, well, that was an Emmy Award nominated episode.
Well, nothing wrong because the episode, in theory, that episode is good. It's like how I feel about Firefly. Bushwhacked is my least favorite episode, but it's still 9.5 out of 10 for me.
Bushwhacked. Let's not get into that.
But yeah, the Deep South is. I think that episode.
Which one's the Deep South
I
episode?
put that just a bit above. That's the Lost City of Atlanta with the mermaids. And
I kind of like that.
I put that just barely above Fear of a Bot Planet.
It's
really didn't
enjoyable.
like it.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's
fun,
got great
gags.
gags.
Yeah.
But the episode
Yeah.
is so unsatisfying.
Yeah, it's pretty
Nothing
empty
happens
after
in
that.
it.
Yeah, there's 3 jokes
Nothing
that I
at all.
really love on that episode. And I think that's what I'm remembering fondly. It's the
Suppositories?
the suppository, yeah. The how many atmospheres of pressure and all the glass breaking in Bender's eyes explode.
That's right, yeah.
And the Zoidberg's little shell house. And you
Yeah,
see
we
him.
love that. We
And
love
that
all
was
those
a lot
jokes.
of those are a lot of things that we enjoyed, but they were
Yeah.
kind of just gags that worked within themselves,
Yeah.
but in service of the story. It was like,
It was Family Guy before Family Guy.
Yeah.
But what we've got this week is a show with a really great motoring plot against another episode
with a really great motoring plot that was both funny and have awesome side characters coming back.
Yeah.
So
And Mother's Day
it's tough.
has a lot of characters in it as well, and none of them feel that they're just forced in there. Every character that's there delivers something. It's kind of like with Problem with Popplers as well. Everyone who's there Day, you're like, this is a lot of characters in one episode.
So do you have? Can you choose between them?
Let's start with you.
Cool, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to fall on.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
The reason you have asked me on this episode is because it's your favorite episode.
absolutely. It's like I was about to say, it's like, don't count my opinion because I'm going to say Problem with Popplers, but Mother's Day is like that disc of Futurama is literally one of my favorite discs because like I think every episode on that disc I'm like I can watch and I'm just like I enjoy. It's
pretty solid. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's the only disc you own.
yeah, actually. There's,
Nearly worn through.
A poor 12-year-old Josh owning one DVD.
We should rate by discs now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not by seasons,
We're rating by
discs.
season.
Season, yeah, and then
yeah,
we're going to show down all the best of the seasons.
Oh, that'd be very interesting to see. Yeah, I'm gonna go Popplers because I love Mother's Day so much, and it's good backstory. You get Farnsworth like actually having a relationship, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
and
gorgeous.
Mum's human underneath it all, and also prehistoric Bender, clunky as hell, and just standing there as they make out, and it's just like standing there like ominously as they like start having sex, but. Popplers is just like balls to the wall. It starts and it doesn't stop, and as soon as you're done, you're like, I just watched like a lot of stuff.
Makes you hungry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, I could go.
They
some
look
KFC
delicious.
Right now.
They look
I would eat them.
delicious.
Can we go
sorry,
get
I'd eat them.
KFC afterwards?
It's
I don't
like,
want KFC.
we talked about this in another episode. The Manwich cartoon food. It's just
Manwich.
cartoon food. It just looks so fucking
good.
delicious.
Yeah.
I want to eat it.
Like a leg of ham in cartoon.
Oh,
is just
God,
like,
yeah.
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 James, what about you?
As hungry as this made me, as enjoyable as it is, I can't turn down Mother's Day. Like, that's probably one of my favorite episodes.
I
If
like
not-
just that as an out of context sentence. As hungry as this made me, I can't turn down Mother's Day.
And then some like inspirational music in the background, like hard
Yes.
cut.
I want to ride the walrus, but I can't. I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's all good.
you should be a reviewer.
They're both fantastic episodes. It's
Yes,
really-
that's a tough thing. It's
I'm
hard.
going to agree with James, actually. Sight gags of everything being a robot, the creativity involved in that, the greeting card robot who is just adorable.
Yeah.
I love Mother's Day. It's going to win over this one. Not to say this isn't a great
Oh, no.
episode. It
Yeah.
is a great episode. It's all right. I'm not. You don't have like. It's okay. You didn't write this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
I'm
not expecting you to be offended
You
if I
can't
don't
see, but
like
I'm
it.
smiling, but on the inside I'm dying. So I'm like, nobody likes me.
See, I was lying to you. This is Patrick.
All right,
Patrick
you wrote.
and
Oh,
Ryan.
he's just taking his face off.
Patrick,
Mother's Day for
Yeah.
me. Robots.
it's a fantastic
Yeah.
episode.
Robots.
So regardless of what I pick, Mother's Day wins
Yeah, yeah,
because that's
absolutely.
it. I was almost inclined to go for Popplers.
It's a tough one.
I've been debating until this very second, but no. The more I think about it, I enjoy the three twins. I guess the sons of Mother, are they related to Mother, or are they just
They're
three
children.
guys?
Yeah,
They are-
in Bender's game, spoilers, they do confirm that they are all Mother's children.
Well, I can sleep at night now. I think I have to go to Mother's Day just because I'm kind of partial to any episode with Mum.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely.
She's such a strong character.
God. is a
Goddamn
great
swearing
character.
Mum is, and yeah, I mean, both
And
of them.
it's just so nice to Farnsworth, that episode. It makes Farnsworth so adorable.
Yeah.
and gross at the same
And
time.
gross.
Yeah, I know. It just
Adorable
humanizes
gross.
two really strong characters.
Absolutely. There's also a great joke in there, which I still love to this day, where it's like Bender breaks in and then sits on the couch. It's like, you do all the work, and he just sits on the couch, and it's like the exact same spot that he's always sitting.
That's right. It's
It's
the
like
impression of
Bender's
Bender
standard
impression.
programming is still the same no matter what his function is.
I reckon I'm going for Mother's Day on this one.
It's a good choice. It is a very good episode.
So I reckon for the voice, I reckon Jer.
It's like doing the greeting card last week.
Oh, we did too, didn't we? Well, there's Free Waterfall Jr.
And Fishy Joe.
Bridget Jones got that really gravelly New York voice.
Hey, it doesn't matter.
We'll get Fishy
Dealer's
Joe
choice.
later. We'll get Fishy Joe later.
It's a Free Waterfall Jr.
Yeah, because this is the last time we'll get Free Waterfall
Oh,
Jr.
Yeah, this is-
okay, yeah, right. We taught a lion to eat tofu, man.
Wait, stop. This is an orangutan, one of Mother Earth's great creatures.
I think you want to say that animal's name again. That's not how he said it.
he says orangutan.
You said orangutan. You said it
You
correctly.
said it correctly.
Oh, damn it. Curse my education. That's an orangutan, one of Mother Earth's great creatures.
I got to remember one of his lines.
Yeah, me too. I'm desperately thinking what his lines are.
Farnsworth's line is like, you can't own a building.
Oh, that's
I
right.
can because I'm not a dirty hippie.
You can't own property, man.
That was like very like Aliens Game Over, man. You're getting
also like a bit of Shaggy.
yeah, a little bit.
What is
Like Scoops, you can't own properties.
What does he invite everyone to do at the end after everything's
just
resolved?
sway, just sway.
Swing. Are they going to swing? Get
it's
a bit of
sway.
swing or sway?
Get a bit of swing. Actually, my favorite quote of his: "Shut up,
Yeah.
shut up,
He spends the
Shut
entire
up.
interview doing
shut up,
that.
shut up,
okay,
shut up,
shut
shut
up.
up, shut up, shut up."
It's like no one's saying
No one's arguing that.
Either eating
I
meat is
am.
wrong.
Shut up.
No one's here to argue that. I am.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Caca-heads.
Shut up.
Old caca
We're gonna have to cut that.
Sir,
do
I'm
yours.
proving a point here.
I don't think I can best my first try. It was really good.
I like that one.
I'm not doing it again. I did it. Just copy and paste it from the beginning of the episode. Pretend I did it again.
Edit that in here, and then edit it in again, and then layer it over itself.
And then just, can you change our intro to just me doing the Wilhelm screen?
Yes.
I mean, that's exactly what they did in the intro, talking about
Molten boron. Nobody doesn't like molten boron.
Nobody does it like molten boron. Was what it was originally recorded as. Nobody does it like molten boron.
Right.
That's not what the line was. So they took the on from molten and chucked it into the beginning, so it read as nobody doesn't like molten boron.
wow.
They had to do that in post.
Oh my god.
That's fantastic.
They're like, that's not
what we wrote,
the line
guys.
was.
Yeah.
Shit.
They got to the point that they recorded everything, and whoever said it left, and it's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Get him back.
It's the union. We got to pay him too much.
Hard
Just
to get him in for 5 minutes to say one line.
just use Alec Guinness saying Ray and just put it in there.
So we'll be.
The birds.
I hope you can hear that.
The
I really
birds
do.
are here.
Hitchcock's nightmare is finally realized.
Fun fact: Hitchcock was a massive fan of Futurama.
From his grave.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I'm so glad there's a pop filter on because I just sprayed all over my.
we just
We
perfectly
need a new
did.
pop filter.
We just perfectly did what Bender does as well. When he told me, just all stopped and looked at
Deadpan.
Sean like, what?
Yes.
or what the episode did to us twice while we're watching it. So all the sound cut out.
So we'll be back next week for Anthology of Interest I, or one, as
first.
it were.
I won't be.
But you have been.
I mean, you can if you want to be, but don't.
I can sleep in the cupboard while I wait for the week.
Yes, please.
Sweet.
Till then, I've been Sean.
I've been Phil.
I've been James.
And I was Josh.
So you didn't even need to practice that. That was right in there.
Yeah.
You're a pro.
Bye. You are now entering the scary door.
Oh, Sean, pick up the cat and move it.
It can be on my lap, but
It's like a bread roll of cat. God, this is getting far too complicated.
Yeah, that worked. Can't believe that cat allowed that.
I know.
Cats, when they're asleep, kind of just let things happen.
Yeah.
Now the cat's settled and I need to move.
You see, that's the problem. This is what you
But
There
that is
we
the
go.
only problem with cats.
There we go.
That and the constant peeing.
Kitty peed on
Is
my
anyone
bed a few weeks
else
back.
I was there.
Is anyone else suddenly wet and warm in one particular place?
Maybe okay if I just
maybe.
rest my feet.
Yeah, I really like the podcast, but the audio kept going weird.
I can't confirm or deny.
We're going to clear it with his legal team,
Yeah.
which is, funnily enough, me.
This is what we've got Josh for.
Are you charging us for
Clear that up.
this?
Yeah, sure. So help you out with the visa if you need it.
For our international tour.
Imagine
Australia?
we try and do one. Hey guys, we're Baby Beard. You know us, right?
We're in Ecuador. Like
Yeah.
everybody knows this is where our fans are.
Me and Tamika started watching it the other night.
Tamika
like,
and I.
I wonder if... No, Tamika and me. It's an Adelaide thing. It's not an Adelaide thing.
Wait for someone to enter the door. All right.
Death?
I tend to.
We are...
We're busy.
We have Jehovah's Witnesses.
Watch out, cat.
At the... Oh, watch out, buddy.
I don't know, and I'm open to many things, but not Jehovah's Witnesses.
Sorry, bye. We're busy.
We are...
No.
It was like Terminator 2, you know, like when he goes through the bars, he went up to the fly screen and started putting the Bible against it. It's like, I will move through and give it to you.
I once had Mormons come over to my house, and I was smoking a doob on my porch. It was a tiny, like, concrete alcove, really. And I was reading a book while smoking. It's a book for a role-playing game. And so they came up, and the Mormons were like, "Hello, can we talk to you?" And I was like, "Sure."
As one does.
And they were like, "What are you reading?" And I flipped the cover back. Dark Heresy. It's like, this is fucking gold.
As a sadist myself.
I really hope they got a contact high in the next place they go to. It's like,